Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Double J podcast presented by Lake Central Media. Jack and Giovanni once again here with the hottest sports news and probably the biggest take. Giovanni, this was a weird weekend for us in sports.
Especially in the NFL.
NFL, college football, MLB, there was actually some moves going on. NBA, there was actually something going on. Giovanni, we've had, a weekend. We've had some time to think about what we took from that weekend. What was your takeaway from that weekend?
Odell Beckham is the best quarterback on the Giants. And
I'd say, on the Giants, yes.
Odell Beckham is clearly the best quarterback on the Giants. Am I joking when I say that? Yes, obviously. But listen, he's 2 of 2 on throws this year. He's thrown for 106 yards. And his quarterback rating is perfect at 158.3. There's absolutely no debating this.
Eli Manning is not anything really anymore. But I will give credit on Odell Beckham. I mean, he slung that ball pretty good.
Against your Chicago Bears.
Yeah, it's okay. He showed what his true player was at the end of that game on that onside kick. So, it was a nice throw by him. Obviously, that play is going to trick all the defenses because, I expected him to run on that. And the weird thing was, so he went to his right, went to his left, and then goes up and then just throws it. It was just like the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And it was a good throw. I will give him that. I'd never really seen Odell Beckham throw, but I give him credit on that. My weekend top takeaway is it is 2018, and now Mark Sanchez is depended to take a team to the NFL playoffs, and that is the Washington Redskins, who lost last night in the big divisional game. Colt McCoy, he's out for the year. So now it's all up to Mark Sanchez. Out of everybody you could think of, Mark Sanchez is going to have to lead the Redskins to the playoffs in a division race that's up for grabs in my mind. Only one game and only, I think, a half a game from that wild card spot. And you're trusting Mark Sanchez. Out of every quarterback you could trust, it's Mark Sanchez, who's been irrelevant since his days on the Jets, Giovanni.
Just remember, Jack, Colin Kaepernick, to some people, is not good enough to get a shot in the league.
I said it last week. Why don't you sign him? I literally said that last week. I know what the problems are, but still,
he's suing the league.
I really don't care if you're suing the league or you're suing Roger Goodell. I don't care who you're suing.
No one wants to sign someone who is suing the league.
Why? The Redskins already signed someone that got accused of domestic violence.
This is true, but
why not?
The Redskins also signed Adrian Peterson, too.
Their logos already creates a lot of tension. Why not? So the NFL, like we said, was a weird week. A lot of the teams supposed to win lost in a weird way, I guess I should say. You go back to the Cowboys and Saints game, the Bears in overtime. Colts shut out by the Jags, lost to Cody Kessler. The Chiefs actually were playing a football game with the Raiders in the final minutes. And then I'm going to go to this one, Sunday night. One of the worst officiating games in my mind, and the Chargers and Steelers. What a game, but I feel like it was more of what a game by the refs because they really ruined that game in my mind. I go back to that Travis Benjamin touchdown, a false start. That was so obvious. The dude jumped back 5 yards.
Oh, it wasn't even close.
I understand maybe if it was like a smidge. But he literally jumped 5 yards back.
Look up the play on YouTube. It is not even close. You can clearly see it. Even if someone doesn't tell you to look for it, you can clearly see it.
You see, he literally jumps back, and then I go to that punt return by the Chargers. There was a block in the back on the Chargers that they did not call at all. It was pretty obvious as well. And then when we go to the end of the game, the Chargers had 3 chances to kick a field goal. They missed the first one. Oh, we're going to overtime. Nope. Offsides. They blocked the second one. Nope. Offsides. They make the third one. Offsides once again. But they made it. But still, it was one of the weirdest games I've seen. But those first 2 calls, the false start and the not false start actually, and the not illegal block in the back, those were the 2 missed calls. And there's 2 touchdowns right there you're giving the Chargers right there. And I'm not trying to take anything from the Chargers. That's a great win. I give Phillip Rivers and that team credit playing without Melvin Gordon. I give him 100% credit. But they did. I really don't know what to say because those were some obvious calls you missed. I understand some of the calls you missed. Like the ref can't see every call. But if you're getting paid $205,000 a year. That's an annual salary for a veteran referee. And you're not able to make those kind of calls. What are you doing? You're literally screwing a team's chances of winning and possibly making the playoffs. Now, the Steelers might make the playoffs. We are sure probably. But now the Ravens are about a half game back. And if you're getting paid $205,000 to referee a football game and you're missing obvious calls, and when you tell the coach, oh, yes, my bad, I messed up on that, something's got to happen. Pay cuts or fire the dude. You can't just say, yeah, my bad, I missed it. It's just professional football.
It's the NFL.
This isn't the Arena League or the CFL. This is
the XFL coming soon.
This isn't like something you can just say, oh, my bad, I missed that. And when it's pretty obvious, I mean, something's got to happen. You fired a dude, or you change something, or you give him pay cuts to actually let him pay attention to the game, because not just Sunday's game. I mean, in the NFL in general, these refs are just making terrible calls, and you know, when you understand, and I'll go to one game actually. Did you see the Bills?
I did.
The defensive player is screaming at the ref. Something's got to change here, because you can't have these problems.
Can we please talk about how the Bills had a chance? Listen, it was about 50 seconds left. I don't know, Jack, if you saw us. I saw us on Red Zone.
I probably did not.
Josh Allen had Charles Clay, I believe it was.
What time was this game? Was it a 12 o'clock game?
I believe it was.
Yeah, there was no chance because I was too focused on that Bears game. So explain this Bills game.
Josh Allen throws the ball. Listen, was it the best pass ever?
Probably not.
But it's not like Josh Allen overthrew him. Charles Clay has to run back to get this ball, and he drops it in the end zone. If you want to see a video that sums up the entire Buffalo Bills franchise, just look up the video and see the coach's reaction afterwards. One of the coaches was so in such shock that he fell to the floor and was like, "Oh my goodness, how do you not catch that?"
He had a pretty good game, Josh Allen. He actually had a pretty good game. Zay Jones had 2 touchdowns. Josh Gordon has impressed. He's the third most impressing rookie for me this year. Baker 1, Lamar 2, and Josh Allen 3. That's his. Yeah, I think that's his name. I don't really remember his name, but when I saw him, when the game was in our area, the Bills and Vikings game, actually, I was really impressed with them. Actually, I've never really seen him play, but I was actually impressed. He came from Wyoming. I mean, you're not going to really get that much buzz from Wyoming. And who is getting some buzz is Mike McCarthy after being fired, and about time. Mike McCarthy is probably having one of his worst years ever with the Packers, or just Aaron Rodgers in general. After losing to the Cardinals, the Arizona Cardinals at home, the place where Aaron Rodgers owns, you lose to the Cardinals. Giovanni, I don't even know what to say. I mean, this is well deserved. We both know that. But
this is what I said on Sunday. Someone has to go after this. It can't be Aaron Rodgers. It has to be Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy. They can't fire Aaron Rodgers. They can't fire the players.
Yeah.
Mike McCarthy, you can't lose at home to the Cardinals. That had to have been the last straw. I know he was on the hot seat before this, but this just had to be it.
All I know is I was checking my phone, and I'm like, okay, Packers are winning. It's going to be a decent game. Then I'm like, oh, Chase Edmonds touchdown. I saw John Rosen, over his name is. Josh Rosen. He had like a 50-yard run I saw on fantasy. Like, I was checking stats, and I just see that all of a sudden because I had Jimmy Graham this week.
The Packers have completely lost their way.
Oh, yes. I think it all started with just Rodgers not being 100%. They trade Clinton Dix, which I really don't understand why. Getting rid of Jordy Nelson, that was an offseason move. I don't really understand that. Because that was Aaron Rodgers' best friend, if you think of it. That's like buddies and buddies right there. Yeah. As a Bears fan, it's nice to see. But as an NFL fan, it's hard to look at it and say, wow, Aaron Rodgers is not going to have a winning season probably.
And I've been saying it all. I just kept thinking that it's like in years past. Remember the year Aaron Rodgers said, I forgot who they lost to, but he was like, I think we can run the table. And I thought it was completely ridiculous. I'm like, Aaron Rodgers is ridiculous. He doesn't even think that team back then just looks so terrible. And I'm not going to say it's going to happen now. I mean, they're too far into the season.
No, there's no chance anymore. I mean, they still got to play the Bears at home. at Soldier Field. I don't even know who else they play. I think they play the Lions at home, and the Lions beat them once already, so who knows? But yeah, it's like we said, it's weird. I mean, Mike McCarthy gone. Aaron Rodgers said he was very upset. He said him and McCarthy got the closest out of all this year. This was the year they got the closest of any single year. I really don't believe that. Out of every year, your worst year with the Packers is the year you got closest to each other? No. Other news, a really difficult thing is Kareem Hunt released from the Chiefs after TMZ released a video of him, an incident that happened February in a hotel that he said he did not do or did not happen. He shoved a woman and kicked her. When the video came out, I think we all knew what was going to happen. But what made the Chiefs mad was he lied about the whole thing to the Chiefs. And, the interview on Sunday NFL Countdown, he said the Chiefs did the right thing. And he kept saying, the usual, oh, I'm not that person. I'm not that person. We don't really know much about Kareem Hunt. He's a quiet guy. You don't really hear him make any comments or anything. And, he said, I'm not that guy. He said he said the right things, don't get me wrong. Of course he's going to say the right things because he requested that interview. But there needs to be something in the NFL that prevents this. It happened with Reuben Foster, who got released by the 49ers and now picked up by the Redskins. The violence in general in the NFL is just rising and rising with players. And it's, what Kareem Hunt did was not right. Shoving a woman is just, that's a start. That's already a suspension in my mind. You should not shove a woman and then you kick her. That's not right. And, what the Chiefs did was right. You can't just do that. That's way beyond measures. And, what Kareem Hunt really said was the NFL never interviewed him or questioned him about it.
And that, to me,
that's what raises me the most. Yes, he did these things, but the NFL needs to react to this as soon as they hear a story about it.
And I don't mean to cut you off, but Jack, I think this is the most ridiculous thing. The NFL said they could not get a hold of this video from the hotel. That is so ridiculous.
But TMZ gets it in a day or so. I don't even know how they got it.
The NFL is a billion-dollar organization, and TMZ was able to get this video.
It's really...
That just, to me, is absurd.
What shows me is the NFL cares about money more than anything, and Kareem Hunt was a moneymaker for them, I'd say. I'm sure his jersey sales were up there in the millions, maybe. Playing on the Chiefs, a big team that's going to make a lot of money soon because, they're up there. But, yeah, you look at that, and now... we don't know about Reuben Foster. No one's really, it's not, they didn't prove that he did it. There's no video, obviously. That's the same with Kareem Hunt. Happened, he told the Chiefs, I did not do this. He got the play. I expect him to be, if he does get signed, I expect him to be suspended at least 4 games. If he does get signed by an NFL team, I don't think he will. I think he will probably because there's those GMs and owners that think he's a changed person after a year. But when you do this to a girl or just in general, just violently kick and push someone, it's too far beyond measures of what he was not intoxicated, he said. You got to be able to control yourself, especially in the NFL. And I'm pretty sure this happened Sunday night, remember, against the Patriots. The fans threw the beer in his face. You got to control measures in the NFL, and the NFL is not doing it. All these players, I've seen a bunch of players. I'll go to Michael Vick, the dog fights. The NFL needs to have a better relationship with these players because we can't keep seeing these things happening with these NFL players. It's absurd and embarrassing for the NFL.
And I don't think any team is going to want to touch Kareem Hunt. Why would you?
I think someone will after a year.
This season, no.
This season, I can't see it. We're getting maybe to the part where teams clinch their playoff spots and already got a team. The
Los Angeles Rams. They clinched the division, not just a playoff spot.
What
the
teams,
division.
Giovanni, do you think have maybe not officially clinched the playoffs, but which teams do you think are going to clinch their spot already?
I think at this point we see the Panthers are at 6-6 now. They just lost to the Bucks.
They went on a 4-game losing streak actually. Not on. They are on a 4-game losing streak.
It's just shocking what's happened to them. I think at this point in the NFC,
I think you can go Saints.
And the NFC South, the Saints are probably going to run away with that division.
I think you can go, Rams, we know. I think the Bears, you can say they're going to make the playoffs. I think you can fairly say the Bears will make the playoffs this year. I'll go with the Cowboys.
I think the in my opinion, the NFC East is still very up in the air.
I think the Cowboys will run away with that one. I mean, you beat the Saints at home. Hey, that's a huge confidence booster for you. And like I said, I think the Bears clinched. I think they'll be maybe a while. I don't know. It's going to be tough. It'll be tough. AFC, Chiefs, Patriots.
I think the Chargers are basically clinched.
Yeah, I think
at least the first wild card spot.
I think yeah. Texans, I think, are going to make the playoffs. They're just on a roll and an easy schedule for them. That's all I got right now. Chiefs, Chargers, Patriots, Texans. That's all I got for the AFC and NFC right now. You know, some teams, I think Seattle's going to make the playoffs, but I don't think they're clinched. We're not 100% sure they're going to make it because with tiebreakers and all that. But yeah, Giovanni, what do you think the biggest game of the week is?
Well, I know there's a lot of bias attached in this, but it
is.
I
know what you're about to say.
To me, it's Texans Colts.
That's not it at all. No, wait, what?
I mean, that game is basically
the Texans are going to easily win that game. The Texans are.
All right, fine. I'll give you this one. Bears Rams. That
is
to me,
a big game.
To me, if the Bears can win that game at home, I think that you can say
they're in the playoffs.
Not only
they win the division. They win the division if they win that game.
Not only that, but I mean, you can look at them and say that they're contenders in the NFC.
I mean,
I really don't believe they can win the NFC.
You look back to the Giants game. Yes, that was one. That was in my mind, that was the second ugliest game I've seen from the Bears. First one's that Arizona Cardinals game. That was just brutal. Yes. Chase Daniel. He's a good backup, but not a backup where you want to start. Weeks and weeks. The Bears showed a lot of resiliency and toughness after coming back, which their odds were like 0.1% after Rosas hit that field goal with like a minute 10 left or whatever. I think, yes, the Bears lost, but I think this shows the Bears as a good team. Now, in the Jack Thiel Pro Football Index, I just came up with this. Gosh. There is a difference between elite football teams and good football teams. My elite football teams are the Patriots, the Rams, the Saints, and that's it. I picked those three teams because if you're down by 3 with a minute left, those are the 3 teams I trust to come back and win that game. Now, I don't say the Bears because they're too young. The Bears are a good young football team, and that's what's scary. This is year 1 of the Bears project, of the Matt Nagy project. And they're already 8-4. The last time they were 8-4 was 2012 when they missed the playoffs, but they went 10-6. That was like Lovie Smith's last year. It's scary to see a young team like this, and now we're seeing Tariq Cohen evolve. Allen Robinson had a big game, but yes, they did lose to the Giants, and the Giants, in my mind, should be a lot better than 4-8. I think they should be a lot better than 4-8. I thought they'd make the playoffs this year. I'm honest. I'll be honest with you. I thought they were.
All right, that's reaching a little bit.
I know, I'm serious. When you have Odell Beckham, Saquon Barkley, Evan Ingram, and Sterling Shepard, with that offense, you should be a playoff team.
But their quarterback is still Eli Manning.
Yes, I understand that. But he actually had some career numbers this year, I saw. But yes, the Bears lost to a Giants, a tough team. But it's okay. The Bears have the Rams, which honestly, it's going to be a tough game because they're looking at a 10-6 season right now with I see their 2 losses, if we're being realistic. It's going to be tough to beat the Rams. I'm being honest right now. And then I don't know if they can go to Minnesota and win. That'll be a tough. But I do have them beating the Packers and the 49ers. But like I said, when they play the Vikings, you're going to Soldier Field. It is December. It is winter.
It's cold.
It's cold. I don't know if there's snow. I don't know what the weather is. You're going to Soldier Field in the cold. That is my worst nightmare as a visiting team. We saw what happened with the Vikings, and they're kind of used to playing in the cold a little bit. They play the Packers. They go to Lambeau Field in the cold. They kind of have a little adjustment. The Rams don't know how it is to play in the cold. I'm telling you, there's a lot of there's a lot of West Coast boys on the Rams team as well. I'm telling you, Giovanni, the Bears, if they want to win this game, the one thing that has to happen is they got to blitz. Blitz, 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 and blitz. They blitzed Eli Manning only 6 times. 6 times. He's the one of the least mobile quarterbacks in the NFL. Jared Goff can run. Yes. Todd Gurley is an MVP candidate. Yes.
No one can stop that, man.
But their defense is struggling. They did get a Quitoli back. I will give them that. But I look to their defense, and I don't really see anything. And and if I could give, like, some, like, how do I say this? Facts, look at the Saints and Cowboys game. Same thing. Cowboys, kind of a young team, trying to make their, presence known. Here come the Saints. Not the best defense, but the best offense. Same thing with the Rams. I'm not saying the Bears are going to win. I hope they win. Honestly, I'll pick the Bears. Why not? I'm a huge Bears fan. Huge game. I'm going to pick the Bears to win 27-26. I think maybe a late field goal by Cody Parkey is going to win this game. I don't really see this going into a blowout. The Bears have only lost one true game. 3 of their 4 losses, they beat themselves. The only loss they really got was that New England game. They really lost that one. That was just a clear loss. But you look at the Dolphins, Bills, and Packers game, they lost that on their own. That's their fault. So, this defense, man, it's energetic. Akeem Hicks, Khalil Mack, Kyle Fuller with another interception, probably solidifying his Pro Bowl ticket. Eddie Jackson, Amo. I mean, this defense loves to feed on this home crowd. And I'll tell you one thing. These are the last 2 home games for the Bears, this week and next week against the Packers. They're going to show out because who knows? We don't know if we're going to get a home game for the playoffs. We don't know that. We don't know what's going to happen with the Vikings. They play the Seahawks this week, thank God, because the Seahawks, I think, will win that game. But after this, Vikings have an easy schedule. Then they meet the Bears that last week. Bears are only 1.5 games up. If they lose and the Vikings win, I feel like that game on Sunday, the last game of the year against the Vikings, that's going to tell me who's going to win the division. And if you're going to Minnesota,
definitely,
I'm a little worried. Minnesota's a good home team. So, yeah. College football. Probably the biggest week in years, Giovanni. We top 4, Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame, and Oklahoma. I think the committee got it right. I think they did it right.
Definitely. I really don't see
how
you could argue Ohio State at 4. We're going to talk about that a bit later, but Ohio State at 4 is just ridiculous. Georgia, I can see the argument that...
No, I can't. I know people are arguing, but how does a 2-loss team...
the committee has shown a 2-loss team will never get in.
They shouldn't. Oklahoma...
And if they don't... Georgia didn't win the conference championship. Last year, Ohio State had 2 losses. They didn't let them in.
I think what makes that Georgia loss against Alabama worse was Jalen Hurts had to come in, their backup, and he totally destroyed that defense. I think that's what made it worse for them.
Well, the semifinal games,
yeah.
It's going to be Alabama, Oklahoma. I'm really looking forward to this one, to be honest.
I've talked to you about this one. If I had to root for someone else in Notre Dame, it'd be Oklahoma. I really like Kyler Murray. I think that dude's just a quarterback. I'd love that in my team.
He's going to have a great game against Bama. I think that's going to be a good one.
I'm not saying Oklahoma's going to win, but if they do win, I'm not shocked.
No.
I'm not shocked. I'm going to say this right now. If Kyler Murray throws 6 touchdown passes, they will win that game. Kyler Murray.
I would hope so.
Kyler Murray is good, and we're going to talk about this later. He is the best quarterback in college football right now.
So you do think he should?
He should win Heisman, yes. Kyler Murray should win the Heisman. Tua lost it on Saturday to Georgia. He should not. I don't think. He's going to be considered. Don't get me wrong, but I think he lost it. Haskins, I don't really know about. He's had a great year. Really breaking all the Big Ten records you could as a quarterback. But man, Kyler freaking Murray, dude. I mean, this dude's an animal. You watch him. Yes, he plays in the Big 12, but he's big in the big games. I mean, he comes up big. He went to Morgantown on senior night against West Virginia. And, they're pretty big on their football, West Virginia. He went there and just beat them. I got to go with Kyler Murray. I think he's had the best year out of all those quarterbacks.
Well, a story that broke just this morning. Urban Meyer.
And what is going on?
I read Jack sent me it this morning. I didn't even know. I really didn't know at all. I just looked at it. I said, what?
The thing is,
what?
After that Maryland game, he told him, I do plan on coming back next year. No. We don't know why he just left. Now, here's my question. If Ohio State makes the playoff, does he stay? Does he stay? Does he find the Rose Bowl a useless game and he just wants to end his career at Ohio State?
I think he would have stayed. Listen, again, Ohio State didn't deserve to make the playoff.
No.
by any
He
means.
thought so, though. Of course he did. But
Of course he did. But
is he going to go to the NFL? Is he just done?
I don't know. I think
Is he
might
going to
be
coach
done.
the Packers next year?
I think that,
Oh,
what?
my gosh.
I think, listen, you heard here, Jim Harbaugh.
He should be fired. I think he should be as well. He can't beat Ohio State, and if you can't beat your rivals, get out. MLB actually had some news this past week. The White Sox traded Omar Narvaez for Alex Colomé, an all-star closer. And I mean, and Friday, yeah, we're clapping. I was in Chicago getting on a train to come back home, and I was like, Omar Narvaez for Alex Colomé? And I heard of Colomé. Rick Hahn is back on his tricks, Giovanni.
Rick Hahn does not take days off.
An all-star closer to a depleted bullpen, and this shows White Sox are in. And what other was big, they get rid of Matt Davidson and Avi Garcia. Now, we emphasize this one. Avi Garcia, who is a starting right fielder.
And I do have to say, I'm kind of sad to see him go.
I'm not. I didn't like him. But, who's our right fielder? Who's going to be our right fielder?
I wonder who.
Bryce Harper is coming to the White Sox. Jim Thome, I heard, actually, is going to Las Vegas to talk to Bryce Harper about joining the White Sox.
My man, Jim told me.
That shows me the Sox are in for Bryce Harper. You just got rid of your starting right fielder for Bryce Harper, and they need a DH. Eloy, he's coming up now. They're setting all the pieces up right now, and it's looking great. Bryce Harper, hey, we need a third baseman. Manny Machado. I'm not saying they're getting Manny Machado, but that'd be nice,
I do need to warn our audience right now. If the White Sox get Bryce Harper or Manny Machado or both,
I think
we are dedicating a whole show to just talking about it.
I think if the Sox get Bryce Harper, that's bigger than anything because, one, the Cubs think they're going to get him. So
that's ridiculous.
They can't get him with the money, and they all think they can. They're already over the luxury tax, and you get penalized for that. So I'm sorry about that. And Chris Bryant was with Bryce Harper, what's it called, this past weekend. So, oh, my God, they're playing together. No. So I said this. Bryce Harper's going to the White Sox or Phillies. But other big MLB notes I wanted to talk about, Robinson Cano is a Met. He went from the Yankees,
I saw this, and I was
Yankees
like, what?
to the Mariners, and now the Mets. You're playing where his legacy is really at is now with the rivals team.
Wow.
And the Mariners kind of gave up because you know who else they traded? Gene Segura, starting shortstop to the Phillies for Carlos Santana. They also traded a pitcher to the Yankees, James Paxton. The Mariners were good, and now they're just getting rid of everybody. It's kind of confusing, right?
It is confusing. I actually did not hear about that. I really don't follow baseball offseason news, but wow,
I mean, I'm only going crazy about it because nothing's happened really so far. You wait for those winter meetings, and that's where Rick Hahn loves to strike. We saw that 2 years ago. That's when everyone came, all these prospects, at those winter meetings.
All right.
Fact or fiction? Oh, man, we got a lot of them. And the Bulls, thank gosh, have fired Fred Hoiberg. Now, will the Bulls make a run with their new coach, Jim Boylan?
No, they don't have enough. They don't have enough talent.
On
the team.
I'm gonna
this year.
I'll say yes, but they're not gonna make the playoffs. They will make a run. They have Markkanen getting his first start of the year tonight. Chris Dunn is still have to come back. Zach LaVine, Jabari Parker, Wendell Carter. I'm not saying they'll make the playoffs, but I think they'll make a good run. Finish the year good with this coach. The Chargers will win the division over the Chiefs.
I'm gonna go bold and say fact. People forget it's not over in that division. The Chiefs have not locked that division up yet.
I'm agreeing with you. I think they play each other too, the Chiefs and Chargers, one more time. I have to agree with you because
they're only one game back.
Yes, one game back.
It's not the most ridiculous thing.
If you're going head-to-head, Phillip Rivers versus Patrick Mahomes, I'm going to take I'm taking Rivers. Rivers is good this year.
Patrick Mahomes, that's
He's good. He's good. Don't get me wrong. But Phillip Rivers as a veteran, I'm taking him in a big game.
Before this week, I said I need to see the Chargers actually win a big game.
And
they did it.
And I talk about Mahomes not being a big enough starter. I look at two big games, the Patriots and the Rams. He lost both of them. And you look at that Rams game, what happened to him? Those last two drives, he threw interceptions. Big interceptions. I take the Chargers to win that division. Ohio State deserved to be in the college football playoffs, and we probably know this answer.
You can't lose to
Purdue.
Fiction.
You
can't lose to Purdue.
By 29. You can't lose to Purdue and expect to be over a team like Oklahoma that avenged their loss. It was funny is they put Georgia over Ohio State. I like that. But, yeah, you can't lose to Purdue by 29 and go to overtime and get lucky against Maryland. If he made that pass, I know it's an if, but he was wide open. We know that. The next NFL coach to be fired will be Todd Bowles of the Jets.
Fact.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like this is kind of like the Mitch Trubisky thing. The coach wasn't a good fit. Maybe Bowles isn't a good fit for Darnold. They're going to find an offensive coach. Go from there. Kawhi Leonard is sneaking up to win MVP.
Maybe not MVP, but comeback player of the year.
I think MVP. The Raptors are the best team in the NBA right now. They did lose to Nuggets actually yesterday. But Kawhi Leonard is always going to win Defensive Player of the Year when he actually plays. He's averaging, I think, about 27 or 26 a game with 8 rebounds and 4 assists. I'm telling you, Giovanni, Kawhi Leonard is sneaking up. I don't really see anyone else besides LeBron or Kevin Durant taking it away from him. Now, Giovanni, you literally stormed to me Sunday night, but you also came to me Monday. You were mad about the United States men's national team hiring their new coach. I'm going to say this wrong. I'm sorry.
Greg Berhalter.
Greg Berhalter, a coach of the Columbus Crew, and you are berate about this, I should say. Now, Giovanni, you put rant next to the script, so I want you to keep this G as you could.
All right. So, if you haven't heard, the U.S. men's national soccer team, Greg Berhalter, if you have not heard of him, he was the coach in the MLS for the Columbus Crew who finished 5th in the Eastern Conference. I do not have a problem with the U.S. getting an MLS coach or a young coach. He did play for the national team back in his day. What I have a problem with is that we waited a whole year.
Just keep it G.
We waited a whole year. It has been over a year since the U.S. Couldn't get a draw against Trinidad and Tobago. It has been over a year since that. It has been over a year since that day. Why did it take over a year? And listen, if they were getting someone like Pep Guardiola, Arsene Wenger, Jose Mourinho, someone of that status, okay, I'm fine waiting a year. But this is something that I know. Listen, I don't have the source or anything, but they have known for so long that Greg Berhalter was the guy. And they're trying to convince people that these friendlies that were against Colombia, against France, did not mean as much as the MLS season finishing. That to me is just absurd that it took so long for them to do this.
I'll give him a chance. I like the name Greg. I'm going to give him a chance. Yes, it's sad that the men's couldn't even make the World Cup. The next World Cup it's
2022 in Qatar.
And then in the United States. Qatar, it's in the winter actually this year. But I'm going to give him a chance. I always give coaches a chance. Yes, I'm a Chicago fan, and that doesn't really go good for me, I guess. Mostly the Bears, I should say, because they've had a lot of bad coachings. The White Sox, I've liked their coaches, managers, I should say. I'm going to give this guy a chance. The men's national team is a bunch, in my mind, I'm going to try to keep this G as well, are a bunch of spoiled little brats that just play for the money.
Alexi Lalas, listen, I disagree with almost everything he says. I think a lot of things he says are ridiculous. But when he said that there are a bunch of underperforming, tattooed millionaires, there's never been a more true statement.
I look at the team, and when I was, growing up, like 10 or whatever years old, the years when you had Landon Donovan, Clinton Dempsey, Josie Altidore, Bradley, Howard as goalie, those were the years. They weren't really the top team, but that brought so much excitement to the United States. But yeah, I don't really know much about this coach. I feel like the MLS is kind of not a league where anyone really likes to go to. You got Ibrahimovic there,
and I don't even think MLS is the problem with U.S. soccer. I think the biggest problem with U.S. soccer, there is no pressure on these people.
I'd rather play in Spain, if anything.
There is no pressure in U.S. soccer.
If I were an American, I'd rather play for a league in Spain than a league in the United States. I'm serious.
That's completely valid.
The MLS is kind of. Don't get me wrong. It's actually getting interesting because the Portland Timbers in Atlanta have that MLS championship. Isn't that this week?
Yes.
It's at Atlanta, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh, that's a crazy atmosphere. And I like that. It's bringing back the soccer atmosphere to the MLS. And I like that because, soccer gets interesting at times. But, yeah, I don't really know much about this coach. And talking about, World Cup, Modric. How about that?
Luka Modric wins Ballon d'Or over Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. This shouldn't have really come as a surprise to anyone.
I feel like people, Modric, or how do you say it?
Luka Modric.
I feel like people didn't know him until the FIFA World Cup.
He was absolutely incredible for Croatia. I mean, he got to the final.
And that's what I'm saying. I feel like if he would have never had that performance with Croatia, I feel like people wouldn't realize, oh, who is this guy? So I watched the FIFA World Cup. I like watching that. I did see him. He's not the flashy guy like Neymar, Messi, or Ronaldo. Well, he definitely is a hard player, and he is a playmaker in my mind.
And one more thing in the soccer world that is not on our script, the Copa Libertadores final that we talked about last week between River Plate and Boca Juniors.
Did they play?
It was set to be played in Real Madrid, their stadium, this weekend. And now River Plate does not want to play there because they believe they deserve a home game. Just to update our people on that. And what I was talking about with pressure in other countries to do well, think about how much pressure those players in Argentina feel.
Soccer is like drama. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, who cares if you're home? It's a soccer field. I mean,
but they feel that they
is it home for the other team? No, it's neutral. No one's gonna be there probably.
But here's my thing. They blew every opportunity they had to have a home game. Their fans are insane, Jack.
They are. So
that's all those people live for over there.
A new segment we're gonna do. We're gonna get rid of the fantasy football. I wish you guys the best of luck in your fantasy playoffs. You guys, I made it.
Or if you're me, your consolation.
Congrats. We're going to do this next segment called the Double J List, and we're just going to make a list of anything. This week is list your top 5 NFL MVP candidates as we're ending the year. Giovanni, I'm kind of curious to hear yours. I feel like I know some of the players on yours, but I'd like to hear what you got.
After this week, I don't think at the end of the year it'll be Patrick Mahomes, but I think Patrick Mahomes right now is number 1. Number 2 is still Drew Brees. Yes, I know. They lost to the Cowboys. But Drew Brees has still been incredible this year. You cannot argue that. Number 3, Todd Gurley.
Yeah, I agree. I actually agree with that one. I agree with you on that one.
And then 4, Phillip Rivers.
I agree with that one as well.
And then 5th, I had to put a lot of thought into this one. I can't put Andrew Luck there after this week. I don't have the heart to do that this week.
Well, who's your 5th? Are you going to... Well, okay.
This one's tough.
Think about your 5th. I'll go. So... my first is Drew Brees. I think he is the MVP as well. 2 is Mahomes. 3 is Todd Gurley. 4 is Aaron Donald. I think he should be. 5, you're going to be a little surprised, Giovanni.
Don't say Khalil Mack.
I'm not saying Khalil Mack. I'm not saying Todd Gurley as well. I'm at, 4 right now? Yeah, 4? Yeah. Todd Gurley. Yeah, Todd Gurley, my bad. 5 is Russell Wilson. I've been really impressed with his play as of late, and I really think he could be a candidate if he keeps it up. And I think right now he's made a name for himself.
Didn't forget about Russell Wilson.
I feel like he is a candidate. I know I always like to put a defensive guy in the conversation, and I think Aaron Donald's been the best defensive guy. He's played like every game. Mac. I love to have Mac in the MVP, but I mean he was hurt 2 games, and it kind of hurts his stats. So I'm gonna go with Aaron Donald. So top 5, Brees, Mahomes, Donald, Gurley, and Russell Wilson. You figure out your 5th yet, Giovanni?
I'm going to go with Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
I did forget about that. Russell Wilson quietly, maybe it's because the Seahawks aren't on national TV as much this year.
Nah, because, I mean, they always play at 3:25, and it's always the Cowboys now if they don't play on Thursday or Sunday night.
So, Russell Wilson has had a great year. I've never been that big of a Russell Wilson fan, to be honest. I always thought that people gave him a little bit too much credit in the past.
I could see that. Yeah, I see it.
And overrated him. But this year, I thought the Seahawks might have been a complete disaster this year.
They did lose to the Bears. They lost to the Bears week 2, and I always think about that. The Bears beat the Seahawks. Like, that's so weird to think about. And they could play them in the playoffs again.
This is true.
That's so weird. Well, that's going to be all of us for today. Don't remember, guys, follow us on our social media. We got Twitter, Double J Podcast. Type that in. You'll see our podcast logo is black, blue, and white. We're on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts. I forgot about it.
Google Podcasts.
iTunes.
Apparently, people are watching on the desktop iTunes.
Pocket Cast, Anchor. I mean everything, man.
It's
so cool, that our podcast has gone on all these platforms.
Did you say YouTube?
Not yet, actually. YouTube on the Lake Central Television YouTube page. Just search LCTV, and you'll see the Dreamcatcher. But it's all cool, Our podcast is on like a lot of platforms. People all around the world to listen to. It's it is.
I always wish there was a map to see where people are listening.
There is on YouTube, I think. I think maybe on YouTube you could look. I don't know. That'd be cool though. Well, thanks for all tuning in, guys. So the Double J Podcast, presented by Lake Central Media.